you've had a Hall of Fame career. There's no question about it.
I'm proud of it. Like for so many years, like we were the last singles match, women's singles match.
You're getting emotional.
Oh, I love it. You know, you have no idea how much this means to me. Like, I love wrestling.
You know, when I said that I was going to be here in Atlanta for NWA, and I said, who should I do interviews with? You were the #1 person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me.
No, well, thank you for making the time to do this.
Anytime.
Oh, wow. Wow. And you're just on a roll right now with NWA.
Oh, no, I'm super excited. Like, this is just amazing. I don't know. I guess it's just like everything happens in life, the right place, the right time. I mean, I've had other opportunities before, and it just didn't feel right. But then when Nick Aldis and Dave Lagana offered me NWA, I was like, yeah, let's do this. Like, this feels like the right moment to go out there and do something.
Right. How has it been spending some time here in NWA?
Well, it's been fun because basically, like, everybody here is people from WWE or who I've met in, like, in indies and stuff like that. So I've spent so much time with everybody that it's just family here. There's no, I mean, you get stuff like that everywhere, so I can't say that it never happens, like egos and whatnot. But the thing is that everybody in here, they leave it all behind, and we're just here for each other. Yeah. And it's that relief of not having all that pressure and, like, sometimes the stabbing, like backstabbing, you try to get on top and everything. It's just everybody knows we're here for each other. So it makes the work environment so much more, smoother and happier and just all around better.
Have you watched your own popularity start to rise even more since, you started appearing on Powerrr?
It's funny because actually I've seen all my fans from WWE days, they're getting back into it. They're like, what? Yeah. You're doing stuff? And now they're back into wrestling. So it's like they kind of like went away for a while, and now their love for wrestling's coming back because, they're seeing me in it. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, thank you, I love you guys. And then I get new people too, so I do have like new people coming in, and then they love the heel character. Like, oh man, you're a badass bitch.
You say that as you're smiling. Yeah, oh. You are so sweet, though.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's true, and people love you.
But see, that's what I pride myself. I always tell people, you could take everything away. Like, you could take the fame and the money, take it all away, and all you have is who you are as a human being and how you treat others. And that means a lot to me, to be good to others. Not because I'm getting something back, but it's just, I think it's like my family raised me that way, and I represent my family each time I do something like that, and I know my heart gives to people. I just love people, and I know I don't want to be hurt and treated like crap, so yeah. I try my best not to do it. And if I do it, I'm sorry, you guys. I don't mean to.
I feel like everyone should be this kind.
Oh, thank you.
So you recently moved, you've gone from West Coast to East Coast. How different is life now on the East Coast?
Cold.
Yeah, why would you move?
But at the same time, it's like, is it weird to think that now I'm all happy wearing like my beanies and the jackets and then colorful scarves? So like I get to accessorize and layer. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I guess because on the West Coast, it's like you don't even need to put a jacket on.
Yeah, never. And it's always sunny. Yeah. And then sometimes it rains.
This sounds perfect, actually. Why would anyone want to leave that?
Because I lived there my whole entire life, and like I'm such a little adventurer that I wanted a place where I could walk somewhere instead of drive, because in California you have to drive all the time, which is great. I do miss it.
And also, as we know, in LA, it takes you like 2 hours to go 2 miles.
Yes, when you're in in
the
LA,
traffic, yeah.
But it's the same as in New York. New York, it's like, oh my goodness, yeah, the same. Like 3 miles is an hour.
Did you ever find the promoters were less willing to book you because they'd have to fly you all the way in from the West Coast?
No, the weird thing is my life is just so weird, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, I just tell people that's my luck. Like, seriously. But I lived in LA, and then nobody would book me in LA. And I was just like, okay, all right. And like, I don't know if it's, I have no idea if it's the fear of like, I'm like my character, and they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. And then I get that, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, whatever. But like everybody on the West Coast or East Coast was always booking me all the time. So it just made sense. Like I might as well be here because everybody on the East Coast keeps booking me.
Yeah. And here you are. I guess we're on the East Coast. Atlanta's on the East Coast. It feels south, though.
It's south. It's definitely south.
Yeah, but I guess this is certainly on the East Coast versus, San Diego or something like that.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So how much have things changed since you got into the business to where things are now? I feel like women are, have a completely different opportunity.
But it's like amazing because they have so much, they're given so much, and it's like, oh, this is what you work so hard for. This is what it was all. It was all for a purpose, and that to get to see that makes me happy. And I know people wonder if like I guess people expect women to be jealous or something like, oh, are you jealous you didn't get to have that? No. I don't care. The thing is that I see it as my sacrifice, like my sacrifice of not being able to do certain moves and being restricted. It actually made me a better wrestler, psychologically. So psychology-wise,
yeah,
it made me have to think of creative things with limitations instead of giving everything, and then you really don't get creative because you're given everything. So I had to like actually think of stuff. So I love that. It just made my mind just go all the different like places. But still with those restrictions, it's like I knew that it wasn't going to be on my time. I just felt it in my heart. I was like, I'm probably never going to see all the things I dreamed of.
Yeah. Well, you're seeing it now.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. I'm telling you, I didn't expect it at all. I was thinking like, okay, I'm done. My career's done. I have to say goodbye. And that's my traveling all around the world was me saying goodbye. And then NWA happened. I was like, no. Oh, I still got a little bit left in me. No, we can do this. We can do this. I'm not the same. I'm not as like I am in my prime, but I still got a little bit left to give.
How much more do you think you have left?
I keep saying like a year, but then I say that every year. I'm like, oh, just one more year.
Yeah, why not 5 more years?
Well, if I can, I will.
Well, sure, why not?
I think Marty Skrull asked me that yesterday. He's like, Melina, do you think you're going to be doing this when you're like, no, I think he said 85 or something like that. And then I was like, if I survive that long, sure, yeah, I'll do it.
I like that your Marty Skrull has no accent at all. Your Marty Skrull impression.
Oh, sorry, because my British accent is horrendous.
No, it's better to not do one than to do a bad one.
Right?
Yeah, I
don't want to torture people.
So for people that maybe aren't caught up with NWA or haven't been watching Powerrr for whatever reason, what is going on with your character?
It's still a work in progress because even me, I admit that when each episode that happens, I realize, because I'm out of practice, it's been a while since I've been like a heel. This whole entire time after the WWE, I've been a babyface. And to get back into that heel character, it's taking me a little bit, but it's getting there, you guys. Oh, I'm getting that heat back. But I see it as I'm taking a little bit of truth and then adding, that bitch feel to it, where I'm coming back because I'm trying to show everybody what I learned, and I think I'm helping people, but at the same time, see, this is how I justify my character. It's not she's really a bitch. My dishonesty has honesty. My manipulation isn't really like, it's not bad because I'm doing it to help you out. I'm doing it so that you could learn lessons that people didn't teach me because I had to learn the hard way. And I want you guys, since they're given like all this stuff, they have all these opportunities, I want to send them out into the world better prepared, stronger than ever, and to be able to do more than I ever got to do. That's my character's like thought process.
Yeah, I like that you've gone deep on this, but I think that that's important.
Yeah, so it's like I always think when I watched the movie it was the movie first, The Catfish, and granted it's about something else, but their explanation of what a catfish does, I was like, that's my career. Like whatever I am, I'm put into that pond to keep everybody going, to stir it all up so that everybody gets more motivated. Yeah. Because my energy and my passion, even though people don't want to admit it sometimes, just the feel of the energy, it does something to other people. I bring that out of them.
Yeah.
So whether they need to actually hate me in personal life, like real life, or if it's just in the character, I like they could feed off of me, I have that ability to do that.
Do you feel like you have so much more opportunity as a heel to do that?
I'm way better as a heel. Like it's so weird because like outside of like the ring, I just want to hug people, but I can't convey this. For some reason, I can't do that as a babyface. It's I go in there. Yeah, because in my mind, when you fight, how am I supposed to be like, I want to hug people? Like, this is going to be, and nobody wants to see that. Like, nobody wants to see a person who's just like all sweet and happy, they're like fighting in the ring. So, I mean, some people do it. They're capable of doing it, but
yeah, there's some of those
not
characters
me.
out
I'm not
there.
good at that.
Yeah, well, you're very good at what you do.
Thank you.
When you said you were a little bit out of practice, did you ever lose the ability to do the splits?
Oh, no. But at the same time, I do that when I do matches for independence, and like, I'm sorry, I go out a lot. So when it comes to like going out dancing or like just like having fun, and then some fans are like, do the splits. Usually I don't, but on some occasions I'm like, all right, and I just drop.
But so if you go out, you'll do the splits on the dance floor? Oh my God.
Or bars on the bar tops.
Oh wow, yeah.
Live your life, people.
I'm sure that's a real winner with the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because it's like I guess because of wrestling, it's like we're entertainers, so you do it for the pop.
And does that
give the people what they want?
That is what they want. Has doing the splits on a bar ever got you kicked out?
No, because it's usually I know the people, or like, and they're like, no, come on, Melina, do it.
Wow.
The only time I've gotten kicked out, this was a long time ago in the WWE. It was my birthday, and it was in LA, and there was, no, it's because I jumped in the pool. So it was somewhere in LA. Why would you have a pool at a club if people aren't supposed to jump in it?
Well, yeah.
So
you jumped in, and then what happened?
They were like, you gotta go. And then they're making excuses like, oh, but this and this and that. And then I did my back bend. And they're like, no, she's gotta go. She's gotta go.
She's
like,
trouble.
This is creeping me out. I don't know why I did it. It's just like, I don't know. I'm just crazy. But in a good way. It's all for fun. It's never to hurt anybody. It's just always like, I tend to make a joke out of everything. So even if it's bad, I try to like make a joke out of like bad scenarios where it's like, well, this is my luck.
I feel like you're really good at like being super positive. Where does that come from?
Who told me that this morning?
Everyone?
My friend Sherry. So Sherry told me, you know Sherry. Sherry told me, I think she was upset over the, what is it, McGregor fight, the 30-second thing.
Okay, yeah.
And I told her, I was like, yeah, because I'm finding the positives in it, like, it's McGregor. Like, I saw a positive in that. And I also think, like, when you watch a pay-per-view like that, you watch it from the beginning because the first bouts are always the people who are trying the hardest. And you see, because they're trying to make a name for themselves. And it's like, I love that. And then she looked at me, she's like, no, stop finding the positives and scenarios like that where people lost their money for the 30 seconds. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry, it's what I do.
I thought whatever happened in that fight, it was entertaining.
Right, because it's McGregor.
It's better than a 5-round, like,
where
decision.
It goes on and it drags.
Yeah. Do you think
I'm with you on that.
Do you think it was Eminem that really helped, put you on the map and catapult you to the status that you're at now?
It's a little bit of both. It's like I believe everything was set in place by fate, just perfectly, and everything added to it. So it's that, and they love seeing the unity because people can identify with their best friends and they can identify with family, and that's what we were.
Yeah.
So I love that. I miss that, and that helped me because I got to also like manage and have a character and get to dress up and everything. So it's like it helped a lot. But then put in a wrestling, when I became the wrestler instead of just a manager, then I had to like pick it up. I had to make sure that it was sink or swim type of deal, and that I was never gonna like drown. I'm gonna keep swimming. I'm gonna make sure to keep the momentum going.
Right. Well, I think when you come in as a valet, not everyone thinks that you have the ability to wrestle. Mm-hmm. So then when you wrestled as well as you did, I think people went, Oh, wow.
Because I didn't expect it at all.
Of course.
But I love the transition, though, because my character, I made sure to not be a wrestler from the get-go. That little, each time I got back into the ring, it's like psychology-wise, that the valet, so like to not break or ruin the mystique, that she kept learning. And each time she got in the ring, she got better and better and tried harder and tried harder.
But you
At least that's what I feel like I did.
You did have the ability, though.
Yeah.
Wow. That actually might be harder than doing it well, is you know how to do it, and then you have to pretend like you don't know how to do it.
But I broke myself out of that because when my time in OVW, it's like being a manager feels, or I thought was taken away from why I got into the business. I was like, oh, but I came in here to wrestle. They're not letting me wrestle. And I was just so upset. And it's like, no, Melina. No, you're seeing it from the wrong perspective. I am learning so much more from being on the outside. And so then I started to take away my ego and that I have something, that's all me in my head, that I have something to prove. And I was like, no. I saw the longevity in it. I saw a storyline, and I wanted to make sure to try to make my career last as long as possible.
Wow.
Or at least I was hoping,
Yeah.
And it did. I mean, it wasn't as long as other people, but for me, I'm so grateful to have had all that time.
How many years in total was it in WWE?
I don't know why I want to say 7, but I'm not sure.
Love that you don't know.
I don't know a lot of stuff. People get mad at me, like, how did you not keep your dolls, your action figures, and da-da-da. It never occurred to me to do that. I just loved doing what I did, that I wasn't doing it so then I'm like, oh, put a wall in my room, in my house. I didn't consider that. I just thought, like, I'm happy doing what I loved in that moment.
Was there any, piece of memorabilia? Did you get to keep any of the championships?
No, but they gave me replicas.
Okay,
so I'm
you
happy
have
with that.
those.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also, I have.
So do you have the Divas title and the
Women's
title?
Champion. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then which I love, and just by the way, the women's title has NWA roots.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yep, I was meant to be here.
And here you are. Who are the people? I mean, it's only been, I guess, a few months since you've been here in NWA, right?
Yeah.
Who are some of the people you're looking forward to working with?
Everybody, seriously, everybody. Because I love everybody's character, and it's just different ways of working with each personality type. And then their reactions and all this stuff. So I'm really excited to work with everybody. But at the same time, I also miss managing too.
Well, I mean, that's something you could do forever. Like if the wrestling does ever, become a thing that you don't do anymore, there's no reason you can't be a manager forever.
Well, I think that too, but at the same time, people see me and they're like, well, I see you wrestling, and so they rather have me wrestling instead of come out and as a manager.
That makes sense.
But at the same time, I'm like, hey, you guys, I could point fingers like crazy, shake those fists.
You could do the primal scream.
Seriously, I love doing that. I don't know if this studio can handle it. Have I screamed in here before?
Have you?
I had to.
You should scream at the taping tonight.
Check.
Oh, there it is. Well, when you see the episode, you'll know why.
Thank you.
Where did that come from?
Oh, because when I growing up, my brother and my dad would always play baseball. So we'd go watch the games, and my mom would just scream. She'd just scream, and you could hear her from across the park and everything, and that's just what we do. So I learned to just scream because you're cheering.
That's what we do.
Yeah, you cheer for your people. I thought it was weird that everybody's like, oh, why are you doing that? I'm like, don't you guys cheer for people you love? So it's either because it started off like a woo, and then I was like, not a woo, but yeah. But then I didn't want to do woo, so it's just like ah! And then it went from there to a little bit more obnoxious and a little bit more.
I honestly I don't know if the studio could handle it. Because when the fans are quiet and there's not a lot going on in the ring, it's quiet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't even think I can handle it. I'd scare myself.
Oh, this will cut through the silence, though. And the crowd's going, oh, this is great. I don't know
oh,
why.
my goodness. I should totally do it.
I don't know why I'm pretending like I know, but sure.
We'll test that out tonight.
Yeah? Oh, as soon as this happens, I'm going to be like, I know.
And they're going to tell me, don't ever do that again. Okay.
No, they're not. They're going to be like, that was great. Continue doing it.
Yeah, it gets more heat.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Who were some of the matches in WWE that you're super proud of?
Oh, I do feel like all of it. even like the Ashley, wrestling with Ashley, and I'm not, I've been saying this, it isn't because of her passing and everything. I've been saying this from before that, like her fire, she had passion. Like she may not have been like extremely incredible athletically, but you have to understand she never was a wrestler prior, and they didn't really teach her the way like she should have been taught because she was on the road all the time, working. So she really didn't get the proper training. But everything she did, she was game for. I was like, you don't have to do this. But she wanted to. And that passion and that heart, the fans saw that. So to me, I am proud of what we did, knowing the limitations, knowing how like that we were restricted on all these things. And it's like, I'm proud of that moment.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of her. And I loved working with Gail, Trish, Mickey. Of course, Mickey is my ultimate favorite. Beth Phoenix and Michelle McCool.
Did you have those? I mean, we've all heard the stories of like you're given a 5-minute match and then you're just about to go out and they go, oh, you've only got 45 seconds.
Oh my goodness, they do that. They do that all the time. Sometimes they don't even do that. I love you guys. But sometimes it's that, and sometimes it's in the ring, or they're like, oh yeah, you're cut down to this.
Like
while
the ref
you're
would
like in
tell
the
you
middle,
that?
yeah. I'm like, I look at him like, and he's like, it's not me. It's not like saying gorilla, you know. And I'm like, all right.
Or you'd wrestle like.
But I love that. I actually do love that though. Like I don't. For me, I never saw it as, oh well, I didn't have time to do this. To me, sorry to be positive, but I took it as, okay, that I'm such a professional that I'm like, it was studying and honing my ability to be able to do stuff on the fly and be able to guide the person in there to, to start going home.
Right.
And so I love moments like that because it's like, wow, I did it. Good job, me. So I know I could handle it.
Did you get to a point where you were kind of guiding some of the up-and-coming women wrestlers?
Well, it's like, yes, because being the heel, you have to dictate everything. You set the pace, like you call things, or at least I did. Like that's just the way I felt because I know you could forget sometimes. So just in case, call everything, and it's like, okay, do this, da-da-da-da. So it's always like trying to do that. But I just felt like that was my role. And I felt like I did get put in that position before, because I know I was still green. I wanted years under my belt before I got the title. But they gave it to me right then, and I thought, I have to step up. I have to be better. Like, no, it's not about having time. I don't have time. I got to do it now.
Well, take me through the conversation when you found out you were going to win the Women's Championship the first time.
I can't remember like word for word, but I remember being told, and I was like,
and who told
what?
you?
I'm thinking it might have been Johnny Ace.
Okay.
And then I was just like, huh? What? No. I was like, no. And they're like, what do you mean, no? I was like, but I'm not ready. It's not about being ready. You got to, like, the way the story's going to go. And I was like, okay, all right. And that's like, I went up to Mickey, and I was like, thank you. Thank you.
And then the women's title became then the Divas title, I guess a little bit later on.
Oh, yeah. That was heartbreaking for me. Like,
why is that?
Because, I don't mind if it was just like two different titles, but when they unified it, it hurt my heart. Because, again, it sounds like it's like a cheesy thing for me to say, but it's the reality. I love the historical factors and everything. I feel like when you know the history of something, you appreciate it that much more. Like if you go to, like say Great Wall of China, being there and it's like, holy cow, this has been here for how many centuries? And like, and you think about like, who has probably like stood here in the past in my, like at this very spot, like, and you think of all these people having like, it's kind of like you're sharing a moment throughout like time.
Yeah.
And you're sharing it together whether they're alive or not.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing. And so when I held that title, I thought about all the people that I watched on TV and that I emulated and I was a fan of, and I'm holding the exact same title. And it's like, oh, it's so overwhelming, and it's like, oh, I'm so grateful to be one of those people who got to hold that with these people.
Yeah.
And then when it's taken away, these other girls after that will never know that same beauty and feel that same feeling, and it hurts my heart that they don't have that opportunity.
Right. Well, it's back to being the Women's Championship, but it's not the same lineage.
No, it's not the same.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like,
So you grew up watching wrestling. Who did you love seeing in the ring?
But that's what I would say. Like, I loved like Sensational Sherry or Scary Sherry. However, like I thought she was amazing. But then throughout the years, I was always a mark for the Steiner Brothers because I always thought like me and my brother. That's what like we would always like imitate them too. And then throughout the years, it was just like WCW, WWE, and then like at night, sometimes my brother watched more ECW than I did because I couldn't. I was a little kid, you know, I couldn't hang. I was like, I'm sleepy.
Yeah, because it was late on Friday night. That's right, yeah.
And then I was like, I'd like fall asleep. I'd fall asleep every time, and he'd watch it, and he's like, oh, you missed this. I was like, man.
So with that said, then when you came into the business, who was the one?
Oh my God! Oh, you're saying like the people I've worked with?
No.
Like,
Now
I was like, oh man.
Now I'm saying that.
Like looking at like even like Trish and Lita, and then like saying like, okay, so I never got to work with Jazz and Jacqueline, but I love those two. Like Jacqueline and her kicks, Jazz is in her cross faces. That's why I'll cross face from time to time because I loved her that much. And I didn't get to work with them on TV, but they came down for OVW, and so they watched us train. And then when they were saying, like, they were talking to them about, like, what they were going to do with me, they're like, no, she's not a babyface, she's a heel. Everybody would always make me a babyface, like, throughout my indie career, like, before WWE. I was always a babyface. Even OVW, they wanted me to be a baby, until they're like, no, she's a heel.
Oh.
And then I looked at it, I was like, finally, somebody that believes that I can do this. And I was
Yeah.
like, let me be a heel, I can do it, I know I can.
So with that said, who was the person that when you finally did meet them, you were like, oh my God, like...
I think it was like everybody, and it was the hardest thing. People probably thought I was a bitch then too, because like I'm trying to think, and now I get it when people do that to me, where it's like pretend like everything's cool, nothing
You're
affects
like,
you.
Hey, Undertaker, yeah,
No,
good to meet you, I guess.
You could probably see it in my face. No, I totally marked out when I met him. I was like, oh my God. But that's like Booker T, like all of them, like poor McFoley. Oh, I was like, it's McFoley.
Yeah.
And then I came and I said hi to him, and he said he had to like take steps back because he thought I was just gonna be like serious, moody, like a bitch. He thought I was gonna be my character, and he said, I didn't expect this bubbly like person. I was like, yeah. I was like, hi.
Where does this come from? Is your mom like this, or like, did you have you always been like this?
I think during my high school kid years, it was like a little bit of it, but not really. I was more quiet and shy. So I wouldn't talk, and I would just like, yeah, really, seriously. I learned to be more outgoing because of wrestling.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because even in wrestling, I was super quiet, and only if I got to know you, I would be like this. So I would just be quiet and then watch, and then hope that maybe if they don't get mad at me, if things are cool, then I could start relaxing.
Have you always been this positive? Wow. Like, is it from books you read, or do you do yoga or something like that?
I wonder if it's a little bit DNA kind of thing. Like if it's passed down from my like family like perspective, the teachings of like how my family raised us, because like it was my parents were teenagers when they had us. So my mom was 15 when she had my brother, and my dad was 19, and then she was 19 when she had me. So we had nothing. Like, we didn't have any money. Didn't have a home. Like, I mean, we had a home eventually. Like, we eventually got apartments. And I don't know how teenagers did this stuff. Like, I think about me as a teenager. I was like, there's no way. Having a job and having a, like, family
I
and
think about it
like,
now. I'm like, oh.
I'm like,
How could I do that?
Just my dogs. Here you go, babies.
How many dogs do you have?
3.
3. Wow. And what kind of dogs? People are going to wonder.
Pomeranian, Pomeranian poodle mix, and a Chihuahua mix.
So cute.
They're little adorable angels with their little personalities.
What's some advice that you have for people that are trying to be in the position that you're in now and that are coming up? Maybe wrestling in the indies. Like, how can they get to be in the place where you're at?
Oh my goodness, but everybody has their own journey. Like, the way people are doing it nowadays, it seems like there's so many places to wrestle that it's easier to get yourself out there. And then with social media, you could like put your face out there, brand yourself.
Yeah.
So you have all these other outlets, not just WWE. So people have like so many, like there's so much opportunity. But at the same time, I'm like, because there's so much opportunity, in a way to make your name as an individual to stand out in every like federation and promotion.
Yeah, right.
Like that takes a different kind of like, it takes hard work. It's not just about tweeting and all this stuff. You do it because you love it and you believe in it. Like I started doing this because I love it, not like there was no money to be made. Like you don't get rich from like doing indies, at least not in my time. You did it because you love it,
right.
And you realize that not everybody's going to book you the way you think you deserve to be booked, and you should be okay with it. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best because I love the art of this. I just love doing it, and I appreciate being in that ring. And I think when you get that, you're able to do so much better without like something like self-doubt, or sometimes that self-doubt or the hustle sidetracks you from other opportunities that you could be seeing in front of you.
And you're so great in the ring, so much so that Bret Hart, I think, endorsed you.
Oh,
which
yes.
also so much so that's on your Wikipedia page. Like Bret Hart said, you're great in the ring.
But see, people like argue that fact. They're like, oh well, like they get all crazy.
Oh, because it's like, on Wikipedia.
Just because they see other people and they're seeing like ring technique, and this is the beauty of what he was saying, and I get and I thank him for what he said, because that meant everything. I tell people like I could die happy knowing that Bret Hart said that about me. Like that's why I don't need Hall of Fame. I don't need all this stuff. I am happy that I did. Like if he said that, I'm good. I'm good. And then I also got Fit Finley to tell me, like, to say something last at the reunion I was at.
Wow.
He said that. He told me, and Booker T too, and they told me what they thought, and I was like, I'm good. I don't have nothing to prove to anybody, because they said what they loved what I did, and they respected it, and they knew that my job in that ring wasn't about selfishness and like I got to put myself over. No, it was about telling the story for the whole of the match, the whole of storyline, the whole of the company, and that was my job, and I loved it and I was proud of it. And if I could take a person who doesn't know any wrestling and the most experienced person and still have a great match.
Yeah.
And I love that, and that's what they got. That's what they saw, and that even if I lost, I still look like a competitor. A loss isn't just like you're weak. Some people don't want to sell because they're like, oh, it makes me look weak. No, the fight, the heart you put into it makes you look strong. You let yourself look weak.
So with all that said, would a Hall of Fame induction mean something to you?
Of course.
Because some people are like, look, I did what I did in the ring, and that's up to them.
No, but the thing is, it is up to them whether to put people in it or not. And if they choose to never, like if I pass away and they're like, oh, well, finally, maybe we'll put her in there, or they never do it all, I'll be okay, because I know in my heart what I did. I know what I've accomplished, and I don't need people to tell me that, because I'm going to enjoy life right now, and I'm going to enjoy wrestling in all its forms, whether it's indies, NWA. Like I'm going to enjoy every bit of all my life while I can. And if the day comes, if they ever decide to have me be in there, of course it's going to mean everything, because they're finally acknowledging that I did something.
Of course you've had a Hall of Fame career. There's no question about it.
I'm proud of it. Like for so many years, like we were the last singles match, women's singles match.
You're getting emotional.
Oh, I love it. You have no idea how much this means to me. Like I love wrestling, and sometimes like I'll work with girls nowadays, and it's always about competition, like, oh, how do I look? I don't want to look weak. And I'm like, no, I want to sell for you. I want to teach you. I don't know how much longer I could wrestle, and it's not about me getting my shit in. It's about making you so you could pass on the torch to somebody else one day.
Yeah. Who is it from your time in WWE that you still keep in touch with?
All of them, though.
Oh, yeah?
Like most of them, like because we have like a group chat now, especially after Ashley's passing. It was like, oh man, maybe we're not reaching out to each other as much. So, and then I see like Trish is always like, I see Trish and Natty. I'm like, I love you guys. We need to have a girls trip, which we do. We do need to. And of course, Jillian's there. Mickey, definitely Mickey. That's my sister.
I just interviewed her husband.
No, just kidding. I love her, but
He's the nicest guy ever.
He is. You should see him with their son Donovan.
Yeah, he's here too.
Oh my God, he looks up the way he looks up to his father, and it's like, it's Daddy. I'm like, yes. Well, good thing you don't know he's a bad guy.
He's like the nicest person, nicest bad guy ever.
He really is.
What's the name of your group chat?
Squared Circle Sisters.
Oh, that's so sweet. I always love hearing the names of these. Well, thank you so much for making the time to do this.
Hey, thank you.
Because we've been talking about doing an interview, and I've seen you a few times, and now it's like, okay, we are doing this.
It's done.
It has, yeah, it's done. So, and like I said, everyone was super excited for me to maybe be able to sit down with you. So the fact that we did this.
Oh, that makes me happy.
It makes,
Anytime, mister.
Oh, thank you. It just makes me happy how happy you are.
Oh, see, that's what I want. That's what I want for people.
And I hope that everyone watching this is also smiling now because of this.
Smile.
Jeez. Well, I think after watching that interview, we can all agree that Melina is the nicest, sweetest person. And so are you for watching this interview and watching it all the way until the end. I know you're already a subscriber, so I don't need to tell you to subscribe, right? If you haven't subscribed yet, though, you can do it literally while I'm still talking. I'll just wait right here, and I'll keep talking. So thank you so much, Melina. Insanely talented in the ring. So great to see her finding this great home in NWA, and she's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I think it's just a matter of a few years till she's in the Hall of Fame. So make sure you're subscribed because I did 6 interviews in Atlanta with NWA and a little bonus AEW interview with someone who happens to live in Atlanta and works for AEW. And it's because of this. I mean, obviously the photo with The Rock's pretty cool. It's my favorite interview of all time. I get asked a lot, who's your favorite person to interview? Well, it's The Rock, but this is what got us access to do the interviews in Atlanta with NWA. So 6 interviews in total. I've only posted 2 of them. I've only posted Nick Aldis and now this one with Melina, although I asked you guys on both Twitter and Instagram, at Chris Van Vliet, which interview should I post first? It was a resounding landslide victory for Melina. So that's why Melina's up first. I think Aaron Stevens and the question mark will be next. You won't want to miss that one. Oh man, and things got emotional in this interview with Melina. This is the 3rd interview this year where things have gotten emotional. It happened obviously with David Benoit, for understandable reasons. Then it happened with Lillian Garcia, and then we had a moment here. It's only January when I did these interviews. What's the rest of the year gonna hold?